I built a pavilion next to the Fine Art Museum in the same park. So outside the official museum, there was suddenly like a little, not parasite, like a satellite more. Outside of the park, we used an abandoned pavilion, a glass pavilion, and that was transformed into an office. And also, that office was good for all this meeting. We did all the research there. But the more important thing was to have that question or that proposal physically existing in the city. We invited 47 people out of the contemporary art world, scholars, but art critiques, curators, culture activists, artists, of course, and curators, as mentioned, but also young artists, young art students and professors for a retreat, almost like to a hotel resort at the beach outside of Taipei for 1 weekend. So people had to arrive on Friday evening and left on Sunday in the afternoon, and basically had to spend the 3 days there. That combined different formats of discussion, different formats of meeting, different formats because within within contemporary art, we have so many informal moments. We meet at the opening, we have interesting discussion exchanges at an opening, at a dinner, at maybe a reception, but of course also at a conference and so on. And this weekend gathering was trying to sort of combine these various forms. And the third part, as a conclusion of my project and also of my talk here, is I edited a contemporary art magazine in Taiwan, Artco magazine, for the edition of 2009 May, and basically in that magazine we edited. It was just sort of like to sum up the whole project. There is one copy here, and within that, I invited 7 international curators, artists to discuss spaces. For them, I invited them to propose different spaces. So spaces were proposed based on their architecture, not necessarily on the program, because they had an interesting model of architecture or a very interesting model of how it's controlled or governed in a way.
Jun as a position, he was firstly invited to Taipei to do some art projects, so has some collaborations with local curators and institutions. So he knew the situation well. And I think the funny thing or the interesting part is everybody thinks the same way kind of. But when he is promoting this concept, he doesn't have the history in town for like any hostile or any interest conflict with anyone, anybody. So sort of like his character or position as an artist become very clear and vivid. Okay, he is talking as an artist and he's proposing something.
It's important to mention that the whole project was never a colonial project where I arrived with an existing model and I tried to implement it in one local situation. So it was more to, therefore, most time was spent to really analyze these sort of conditions. What are the conditions? What are these spaces? What historically things, what were the important things that happened, or what are sort of like the social structure within Taiwan? How do we define independence? How do we define autonomy or independence in a sense? And then in the end we came up of, and that paragraph is about is to be like an independent art space. But what does it mean, this independence? Independent in the sense of not in direct control of a city, not direct control of a ministry, not in direct control of one company. So to say that that if the party, the government changes, that there is not a direct control or influence of that policy, or not in direct control of one company, that if the company now goes to, I don't know, to Japan and focuses on Japan, that the art center therefore as well has to focus on these sort of interests. So we of course the art center now works with even, it works with the city. It discusses certain things with the city. It works with private companies. It has sponsors, but none of these. It's not doing a service for them in exchange.
The space of TCAC is offered by a developer for like 2 years free of use. That space is 800 square meters right in the center of Taipei. It's like 2 old buildings, and we got the money. The artists of this association, or actually some of them not even in the association, donated the artworks to TCAC, and we sell it. We got the money to renovate the building, and as well as get the 2 years operation budget or money for it. So first floor is for like gathering and conference presentations and small performances. Second and third would be for exhibition spaces. The first floor, we put office in the first floor because we like to have all these art professionals or just pass by to access the office quite easily. So from the easiest accessibility and the transparent working space, so you can see through who are working there and who you should approach if you like to have a proposal to hang in. And we also have an archive.
Important to mention, the first floor is in Taiwan the ground floor, so it's on the street level and it's straight accessible from the street.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, it's mostly like a ground floor. And then in the ground floor, we also have the archive room. That's for researchers to come over to look into all these artists' works. So like there are lots of video artists just simply put their videos in the archive room, because it's quite frequently a visit space for like international curators. When they come to Taipei, they do research, but they don't have a working space. So here, our office can be offered as an office, and for them to meet some domestic artists after they do some research in the archive room. So it's connect with like domestic art space in with these international professionals in a way.
There's always the question, how do you govern and how do you govern such a space? And there is always a particular problem with sort of associations and also board members. Of course, all the board members are too busy always, and everybody's active. So it's very difficult to formulate a functional, a practical functional situation for the art center. And at the moment, I think instead of having to have like a conclusion or a compromise between the board members, I think the tendency is now to think of maybe if these 9 board members or the 16 members are interested in contemporary art anyway, there is perhaps no necessity to find a consensus, to find the agreement to do and to discuss therefore every single detail all together. The art center is very transparent in the sense of that as a student or as somebody involved, you see exactly how the structure functions. There is no hidden office, there is no hidden agenda or the director's back room or these sort of things. All discussions take right place in sort of like a semi-public structure. So if we always reflect and question and redefine what artworks are, what artists' position are, what curators are, what functions museums have, and what an exhibition is or could be, I think it's therefore also very important that art spaces or ask the same question or have the same questioning in a way. So Taipei Contemporary Art Center, I think, certainly will keep on existing, but I think it's interesting therefore for all the people involved, artists, curators and so on, also to re-examine the format of its existence in a way.
We still need to have a good institution, or the institutions that we think we should work for and work in, or functions in a way in order to generate longer, permanent, or better influence for our production. It's not we replace certain politicians, the whole thing will be changed, the world changed totally. No, I think that's the importance of our institution when it happened and how it influenced. And that's I think if we still work on it, that would be the only reason.